Here's an image of the supplies that we're going to use for our plaster strip casts. I always start with drawing a line on my glove just so that I don't go past that line when I start to make my cast. And then it's easier to remove it at the end. So the video has been sped up a little bit just so that we can get to the process of making our casts. So you're going to want to dip your plaster strip into the water, lay it on your hand just at that line and smooth it out as much as possible. You're going to want to layer the strips of plaster. In all of the areas, we're going to layer about 2 to 3 strips. The areas in between fingers and thumbs can be kind of the most fragile areas, and so we want to start with those first. As you'll notice here, and as you might notice when you are adding your strips, that it's going to get quite saturated with water, and so some of the top layer of strips you can actually skip the step of dipping it into the water and just put it straight onto the layers that are already quite wet on your hand. So once you've gone between your thumbs and your fingers, then you can start moving up your fingers. It gets a little tricky, so you want to be strategic with the strips that you select. Just make sure you're selecting smaller strips for smaller areas, and then larger strips for some of the bigger areas that you might want to cover. So the plaster strips take about 20 minutes to completely dry, so you'll notice that by the time you're finished your hand, it's pretty hard to the touch. So you'll want to start wiggling your fingers, wiggling your hand around, and just slowly get that cast off of your hand. It takes about a minute or so just be patient. Once our hand's complete, we want to put our name on a piece of paper and just tuck that inside. We'll put the hands on a shelf to completely dry. And then with the remaining pieces of plaster strips, we're going to keep those And the wastewater we will put in a bucket rather than down the drain. Once we put that water in the bucket, the remaining plaster that's left on the bottom of our containers, we're going to let that dry as well so it can go in the garbage. And now all that's left is just to clean up.